Hi, and welcome to another edition of Hanging with Cornellians. This week, my guest is Sam Lundin. Sam is a Cornell alum from 2007. He made his way into finance after graduating from Cornell and has since transitioned to the startup world. So, welcome, Sam. If you could just give a brief background of who you are, what's your story, that would be great.
Sure, thanks, Ian. So, graduated December '06, was class of 2007. Coming out of Cornell's, I was an AIM major, applied economics and management. I went into investment banking, specifically mergers and acquisitions, focusing on technology companies. After that, I went to a hedge fund where I focused on public market tech investing. Was there for 3 years, and after transition away from that, so it was a large global hedge fund focusing on large companies. Now I'm on the other side of the spectrum, focusing on very small companies. It launched Vimbly in 2011 at the end of the year with my CTO, who is another Cornellian. At the time, it was two people. Now we've grown since then. It's 10 of us in total, and we're growing as fast as we can.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I definitely want to ask you a question about Vimbly, but first, if you could give us a little background, I guess, on your decision to transition from the finance world to the startup world, because I know culture-wise it's very different, but it makes a lot of sense. I mean, in a lot of ways, a lot of the skills transpire. So I'm curious.
Sure. So, I mean, it is definitely a dramatic difference in terms of by nature of what I'm focusing on, what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. The impetus for this change was, I really liked finance. I enjoyed what I was doing. It was a great background, a great learning environment. But ultimately, looking forward on a 10-year time horizon, 20-year time horizon, I wanted to be able to look back at a very tangible entity which I would have constructed over time. And continuing along the finance path, the opportunity set for doing that wasn't quite the same. Whereas launching a company and building a company from zero into an actual entity and contributing effectively to society and the world around me and having a regular product or service that people use was a very compelling thing that I wanted to pursue. Now, fortunately, it wasn't just a cold turkey type of transition, since the nature of what I did, I was focusing on technology for years. I just wasn't on the operating side. I was on the investing side. And so this transition was merely taking what I had learned through my half decade investing in tech companies and now implementing it in a more hands-on way.
Right. Cool. Cool. And yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Vimbly? Maybe give us your pitch. What you're trying to do. What your big vision is.
Sure. So in a nutshell, Vimbly lets you find and book recreational activities faster than you otherwise would ever be able to find them. So what I mean by recreational activities, this includes dance classes, photography lessons, cooking schools, glass blowing, wine and cheese, cigar tasting, scotch making, these sorts of activities. So the fact that actually led to Vimbly is that I was looking for a photography class 2 years ago, and I go on Google. I'm sitting here in New York City in the pinnacle of convenience. I type in NYC photography class, gives me a slew of results. The problem is, of the results, half of them are in the wrong part of town. You start digging through the other half, it's Thursday at 2 p.m., and I'm working. Or there's a class, and it's a 6-week cycle. I just wanted a simple $30 photography class, and I had a lot of trouble finding it. By the time I found it, I had to email them back and forth a few times to lock in the class. All in, it was a 3-hour research process. I thought, wow, this is terrible. There's got to be an easier way to find and book these classes. And so that's when the concept for Vimbly was born. So our vision is just like today. If I go and I'm booking a flight from here to Ithaca, here to, let's say, Detroit, I go on kayak.com and I think, wow, I can't believe that 20 years ago they used to pick up the phone, call Delta, or call a travel agent. What a disaster that is. Fortunately, we have kayak. Similarly, in the future, 10 years from now, people are going to say, I can't believe that when you wanted that photography class 10 years ago, you used to Google for 3 hours. Fortunately, we have Solution X. So Solution X is certainly going to exist. The only question is who it's going to be. So everything that we're doing every day when we come into Vimbly is building Solution X.
Awesome. Yeah, I like it. I like how you had
And
your
so
had
what
it.
is the difference? So, on Google, you know what it looks like if you type in
Right.
photography class New York City. On Vimbly, if you click photography, you will see the 10 places nearest you, the actual activities, the classes themselves, and on that same screen, it'll show you the time slots that are available over the next week. So you'll see it on the map, and you'll see the time slots. And then if you want, you could filter. You could say, oh, I want Wednesday after 7 p.m. in this part of town, and it'll show you only those activities that match your criteria. So the
Awesome.
use case is you might know something specific like that you want, or you might say, I want tango. I am a 20-something-year-old female, live Upper East Side, I work late every single night except for Thursday night. What can I find on Thursday? Or you could be someone who doesn't know what they want. You could say, I need a date for tomorrow night. What can I do in New York City? Less than $80 after 7 p.m. Vimbly will work in both situations. Immediately will refresh on the screen for you and show you those answers.
Awesome.
And then you can just click and book it.
Yeah, no, I like how you had the problem and then went out and solved it. That's the stories I love hearing about. And yeah, so we're almost out of time, but just one last question, tying it back to Cornell. I'm curious, what do you miss most about being up in Ithaca, up at Cornell? How does it compare to being in New York City? I know it's very different, but
Sure. So number one, I miss Louis' lunch. Okay. Number two, when I was at Cornell, we didn't have the fences that I think exist there now, but
oh yeah,
I really like the scenery and the walking. I actually enjoy walking a lot. I don't have the same opportunity. I live close to work right now. Walk a lot at Cornell. I really like that. It was also extremely social at Cornell. It was very easy to meet people, talk to people. I mean, in general, you're interacting and exposed to so many different people that it's a really conducive environment to getting to know a lot of folks. And so it's a different. Now, New York is great for meeting people, but it's a different type of environment. It's not as
right.
open to that. Now, fortunately, with Vimbly, we make it easier. I'm a big proponent of experiences in classes, but I think Cornell was definitely great at that. And one other thing, actually, I'll tell you, is that when I was at Cornell, the PE classes, we had a mandatory 2 PE class requirement. And at the time, I thought, oh, man, I really don't want to do this. I mean, with this mandatory requirement, so I took ballroom dancing, I took firearms senior year. It's called handgun safety. Now when I look back at all those classes, like there was bowling and the learning to massage and all these things that are basically what we do on Vimbly now, which are fascinating classes that I love, things that I like to take and learn, are all the things I had at my fingertips when I was at Cornell and didn't do. So that's probably the number one thing that I miss.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we still have the 2 PE credit requirements, so definitely try to.
I hope you do more than swimming when you use that.
Yeah.
That's a good opportunity to do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, I still have to take one more, so I'm trying to pick the right one, but
I recommend handgun safety.
awesome. Yeah.
You can get the James Bond curriculum if you get some dancing going and then the handguns.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us and telling us what you like most about Cornell. And yeah, be sure to join in for the next episode. Good one.
Great. Thanks, Ian. Happy to chat.